So this is just one of the worst things that I've ever seen in my life. And it is just so out there. It's the sort of thing that you would just never would think would happen. And it's a level of savagery that is just... It borders on the incomprehensible. Now, of course, I can't show you the video, but the video is widely available on Twitter. I mean, I saw it earlier today, just scrolling through, and it's this. And so I will describe what happens, but like I said, it is... There is something genuinely wrong with a society that treats its criminals and mentally ill people in the way that modern Western societies did. So, people back in, the 19th century would complain about the asylum system. They'd be like, well, they're just being treated like animals. They're being treated like there's something wrong. Modern medical techniques and drugs can help these people live normal lives. It's like, yeah, assuming that they choose to take the drugs, assuming they choose to cooperate with the medical techniques. But if they're not under supervision, how are you going to make them do it? But anyway, the asylums were shut down, and so now, insane people who... And that's the best explanation we have so far. It could be there's something far deeper and much more racialized that underpins this, are just free to roam the streets. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, there's a black man, there's a white woman, therefore this is racial. I don't know. Right? I don't know that this is racial. I do know that this person is mental, and that is the only legal information we actually have on him yet. But I'm not in any way saying that it's unlikely that he is mental and also hates white people. I think that's very likely. Because what happens here is, this is a train, he's just sat on this train, the CCTV are capturing it, and this young lady gets on. She's a Ukrainian refugee, she was 23. She gets on, she doesn't even make eye contact with him. Why would she? He's just like looking out the window. She just gets on, starts looking at her phone, then after a few moments, he rummaged around his pocket, pulls out, opens a penknife, and then stabs her in the side of the throat, out of nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. No interaction whatsoever. Just, it's the most savage thing I've ever seen. Now, you'll know that I'm a massive advocate for the death penalty, so, I mean, I would have him swinging by the end of the day if I were the one in charge of all of this. But, of course, that's not the world we live in. And honestly, who bloody knows what's going to happen to him, right? So anyway, there are news reports about this. This is her name was difficult to pronounce because it was Ukrainian. Irina Zarutuska, she was an actual refugee from Ukraine, was stabbed allegedly by DeCarlos Dewan Brown Jr. And he was just found wandering around on the platform after people had called the police and they came to arrest him, and apparently he was treated for a hand injury, so he'd injured himself while murdering her, because she was pronounced dead after suffering a stab wound in the throat. Honestly, it's just awful, and I don't recommend that you watch it. It's so savage. There's just no reason for it, and it's just the hardest hit he can, straight into her throat, and that's it. And can you remember, her day would have been so normal up until that point, I bet, that she's just wandering around, and this happened in Charlotte, North Carolina, I think. But she was just wandering around. There's a completely normal day for her. She's just having a normal day, she just gets on the train, she's going home, and then she's dead. What, is she somehow responsible for black oppression in America? What the fuck has a Ukrainian girl got to do with any of that? If that is indeed the reason this was done. But anyway, her death has raised new concerns in Charlotte about the safety of public transportation, with community members calling for stronger protections on buses and trains. Things that wouldn't have stopped him. It was so quick, because he just realizes that she's there, gets his knife, and then just stabs her. No, you wouldn't have had time to intervene. It's just one strike and she's dead. The problem is the existence in communities of insane, violent people with mental health problems, and that's the official narrative. You can look at her Wikipedia page. There's a Wikipedia page of this already, right? The suspect, DeCarlos Brown Jr., was a 34-year-old homeless black man with a lengthy criminal record dating back to 2011. He'd been convicted of multiple offences, including robbery with a dangerous weapon, breaking and entering, felony larceny, and misuse of the 9/11 system. He had approximately served 6 years in a North Carolina prison and was released in 2020. Subsequent arrests included charges for assault on a female in 2022 and a misuse of the 911 system in 2025, where he claimed man-made material was controlling his body. Right? So, I mean, don't get me wrong, he may well have hated white people, but I think it's fair to say that he was also absolutely mental, some sort of absent schizo, right? So you've got a violent schizo on the streets, and everyone knows it. Now, there is the Bukele option, which is lock up violent schizos for the protection of everyone else. You'd be like, oh, but what about the human rights? And Bukele's got a good answer to that. What about the human rights of people who don't want to get stabbed? The human rights of the people who are not doing anything wrong, who are not going around terrorising society. Isn't that more important than the human rights of the people who are going to terrorise them? And so, I find myself in full agreement with this. Because, I mean, when you see just the amount of times, again, 14 times he's been let out of custody, and you look at his face and you realise this is not a well man. This guy is a maniac. He is obviously someone who doesn't feel remorse. He is someone who doesn't care about the people around him. There's a reason that he's like a homeless crack addict or whatever. Like, this guy can't function in a free and modern society. This is not the way that he is built for whatever reason. And again, I'm not trying to pass judgment. This is just obviously the case. And you could take the more sort of liberal perspective and say, okay, he's a man who's been failed by the system. He's a man who needed help and didn't have it. So, yeah, okay. So why allow him to roam around the streets on his own? If he is a dangerous schizophrenic, which, again, is the most charitable interpretation of this, then do we not have an obligation to him as well as society at large to make sure that he's not on the streets? Such people, and I realise it's a bitter pill for the average lib to swallow, but such people must be deprived of their freedom. They are dangerous to themselves and everyone else. They can't be allowed to roam the streets. They are not productive members of society. They're not going to become productive members of society. And if at any point this lunatic had been, okay, right, that's one too many crimes, you're going to the asylum and you're just going to be locked up there. You're just not sane, and we'll have, psychiatric evaluations, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you'll get sane, who knows? But for now, while you're currently mental, and before you just stab some random girl in the neck for having the temerity to exist near you for whatever, it could be the man-made material controlling your body or whatever it is, you fucking fruitcake, you have to go to the asylum. You should not be out. You are a danger to others. And this is genuinely a real issue. That I know it's, again, difficult for the lib to accept, but there is a much higher rate of schizophrenia in the black community than there is in other communities. Now, I don't know why. I have no idea why. I'm not a doctor. But the point is that's real and that's true. And so that should be something that's considered, right? That should be something that's taken into account. And that should be something that is dealt with before they go and kill someone for no reason. Again, in the most barbaric of ways. But the thing is, they acknowledge, there's problems with the criminal justice service in the wake of this. And again, this only happened today, right? So this raises questions about the effectiveness of the judicial system and the community's failures to address mental health. Even Brown's mother has blamed the courts for allowing her son to be out in the community. Right. So again, I don't know that this is a race thing, and a lot of people are trying to make it a race thing, but it doesn't immediately strike me as a race thing. It strikes me immediately as the mother being like, yeah, my son was dangerous to other people. Why are you letting him out? He should be in some place where he doesn't have access to sharp objects forever. Where is it? There we go. Right. So District Attorney Spencer Merriweather, bound by legal rules, wouldn't comment directly on the case, but he spoke broadly with Axios about the limitations and complexities of holding accountable defendants with mental health issues. Often defendants must undergo an evaluation to determine whether they are mentally capable of assisting in their own defence. Merriweather noted that some defendants stay in mental health facilities for years while courts wait for them to reach capacity to stand trial. In some instances, judges eventually dismiss cases, releasing people who commit dangerous acts. They also say the standards for involuntary commitment are more complex than they seem. Okay, I'm not going to go into the details of it, but the point being, if someone is not capable, mentally capable, of being involved in their own defence, then why is it that they are mentally capable of being on the streets? Why is it that they are considered to be mentally capable to live in society with the rest of us before they can go on and do something terrible? Like, again, it's not even... I mean, it obviously the main cause of concern here is society itself. But also, isn't it bad for them? Like, no, we're just going to release this mentally ill hobo onto the streets. What's going to happen to him? I'm sure it'll be fine. No, it's not going to be fine. It's totally irresponsible. It's like the concept of liberty taken to its most extreme, ridiculous nth degree. These people should be taken care of, and that means if someone isn't mentally capable of even defending themselves in court, they shouldn't be free. They should be in an asylum to make sure that they can't harm themselves or others. That's just, I mean, it's just, that's the responsible thing to do. That is the social thing to do. To put them out on the streets, like the Democrats doubtless have been campaigning for, that's the irresponsible thing to do. That's the path to anarcho-tyranny. That's not good. This is not good for them. It's not good for us. This solves no problems whatsoever. This doesn't help anyone. These people need to be put back in asylums. And you know what? I'm all for it. Make asylums great again. This would have prevented this from happening. This isn't a necessary thing. It's not like, well, this is just the risk you take for living in a society. No, this is the consequence of policy. These are choices that we have made. And frankly, we need to unmake. This doesn't have to happen.